Running a Pokemon card business takes a lot of work and a lot of manual labor, so finding ways to automate it is very important to make your business scale and also be more profitable. What's up, everyone? It's Andrew from GemTCG, and today's video will be focused on automating your TCG business in the way that will help you grow and also take up less time of your day. And I'm going to focus more on like simple automations, not really like code related or scripting, because those can be very complicated. So these will be quick fixes that can get you sped up right away. And these will be for shipping, printing labels, and a bunch of other steps that are included with running this business. So the first thing that I'll be talking about, which is probably one of the biggest time savers that I've had, is for TCG Player address labels. So when I first started on TCG Player, I was writing out like every single address, write it on the envelope, and then just ship it. And that would take an extremely long amount of time. And also, like, your hand would start to cramp after you do like 50 orders in a day. And another thing is handwriting can be pretty like bad sometimes, like especially mine. So who knows, sometimes it probably got lost in the mail because they couldn't read the numbers or the letters on the address. So something I found that could fix this is getting like a mini barcode printer, like a Dymo label printer, and then using their app to pre-fill the addresses on TCG Player. And I'll show you guys how to do it, but I just want to explain it first. And then when you get those orders on TCG Player, you can select all of them, export the shipping, and then upload it there, and it'll just print out all the labels one by one, like all the addresses one by one. And then you just take that sticker, put it on the envelope, and that's it. So overall, it saves you a ton of time, probably like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how many orders you get per day, which is pretty big. And it also saves you like fatigue on your hands, because writing down things all day, every day, it can cause like stress in your fingers, which can get worse over time. So let me show you guys exactly how it works. So here we are on TCG Player, and then if you just go to your orders, and you could select all of them right here. So then you'll pull up this part, and then this button where it says export shipping, you'll just want to click that, and it'll build a CSV file where you could upload this to the Dymo app. And I think this works for any brand, but I just know that Dymo was the one that I learned about, and I think it's like the highest quality one. So do some more research and see if you can use it for other label printers. And I'll link it down below so you know exactly what type of label printer it is. It's not like a 4x6 shipping label printer. It's specifically for, I believe, barcode, but you could use it for other things. And then you go to this thing, it's the Dymo Connect app right here. And this app is like pretty bad, honestly, I will admit. Like it crashes at times and it can be slow sometimes, but it gets the job done. And I'm blocking out this part because it shows like someone else's address, so I don't want to share that. But what you do is click this import data, and then it'll pull up like the files you could add, and then you just add in right here this TCG Player shipping export, and then you do that, and it'll pre-fill all of the labels. So like the other day I had 18 orders. I uploaded all the shipping labels, and it said 18 labels right there. So then I just printed it and uploaded it right away. And to get the data to be formatted properly, you just click add, and you could do text or address. And then what you do is you click text, or like let's just say you're doing text, and then you'll click this little chart right here. And to set it up, you just want to click address, and then you'll like insert the data as is. Like it'll show this this little, looks like a spreadsheet kind of thing. You click that and it'll show the first name, last name, street name, city, zip code, whatever. And then you just put that all in, it'll populate it for you, and then you can just print the labels. So that's the first one, and honestly it saves a ton of time. Like I definitely recommend doing that if you can, especially if you're getting a ton of orders that are all below $20, or like that you're shipping with plain white envelopes. And speaking of automating your store, this brings me to one of the biggest and most efficient automation tools, which is CardBot, and they are the sponsor of today's video. And CardBot by CardCastle is a great tool that can sift through all of your bulk and trading cards to pick out any cards that fit your criteria. So let's say you want to filter for cards that are only worth 25 cents and up, or you only want psychic Pokemon cards or land magic cards, then you could put those filters in and it'll sift it based on that criteria and automate everything. So that way you don't have to go through and manually sort your bulk one by one. Because when you're dealing with tens of thousands of cards, this can be very daunting. By automating your bulk processes, this will speed up your storefront a lot and will be able to scale your store very quickly. And then the other great thing about it is that once it's done sifting, it builds a CSV file that you can just upload directly to TCG Player, and then it just gets listed right away. So definitely check out Card Castle and CardBot if you're interested in getting a sifting machine to automate your bulk. And on to the next one. Speaking of TCG Player like labels or plain white envelopes, the other great thing to do is looking up eBay personalized like address labels and seeing something like this. So what it is basically a sticker that you tell the person what your address is for the return address, and they'll print it on a bunch of stickers. Like right here is 400 of them for $6. And when you're buying in bulk, it's even cheaper than that. And this helps a ton because your address never changes. So you don't have to, or not never, but rarely changes. So you don't have to worry about, ordering too much of these because hopefully you'll be just using it for as long as possible. And they're extremely cheap and very efficient because when you're writing the same exact address for hundreds of orders a week, it can be very tedious and time consuming, and you'll just get very sick of it. So a cheap way and very efficient way to do it is just order this. When you make the order, you put in the notes that like what address you want, and then that's it. Like once you get the stickers in, you just put them on the envelope, and that's it. Another one to do is like getting it pre-stamped onto the envelopes that you buy, but I don't recommend that because it's a lot more expensive than this method. Granted, this method takes a little bit more work, but I don't think it's worth the extra price to get it stamped on because that also means you would have to get the envelopes through that person and they're probably charging a premium. So for me, this is the most efficient way to get it done. And the last thing that I'll be showing for TCG Player is automating your pricing. Now, I made a video before about how helpful TCG Pro is, or like Pro Seller is, because of the many features that comes with it. And a lot of people said it's not worth the fees that come along with it, which is like a 2.5% increase in fees. But I would heavily disagree with that because when you have an inventory like this, like right here, I have 23,000 cards listed. There's no way I could possibly go in and manually update prices every single day or worry about which cards are going up and which cards are going down just so I can go in and make changes. It's just too much work and way too time consuming. So a key way to automate your pricing is by going on TCG Player and becoming a pro seller. And I believe you have to be level 4 to do this. So that's definitely something that you have to consider or like be aware of. But it's definitely worth it in the long run because like when I show you guys my mass price tool, I have all of these rules running that set minimum prices for TCG Player, it tracks the market price on all of them, and it just overall very helpful and saves me a ton of time and less burden or like mental load for worrying about this stuff. And next, let's head over to eBay. So on eBay, one thing that I like to do is kind of preload different pages that are important to me. So like if I go on this selling tab that I made on Google, I have a send offers page, and then I also have a pick your cards page because, well, let me explain the first one. Send offers is filtered for the listings page, and then the send offers filters toggled on. So what that means is someone was probably viewing these listings or they had one of the items in the cart. So what eBay does is it allows you to send an offer to that person. And so what I do is I send the offer probably like once or twice a day, and then I just do 5% because that's the minimum allowed amount. And I have this toggled on, send automated offer for a duration of 1 year because that's the maximum you could put. So this does one of two things. It sends the offer to them, like the person that's interested in the card, and then it also sends offers to other people in the future. So like let's say someone adds that item to their cart a month from now. It'll send that same 5% offer to them, without me having to do this like manual work. And I've noticed a ton of sales from doing this because like when someone sees a price of let's say $10, but then they see a discount, they automatically think like, oh wow, I get it for cheaper. Even if it's a small amount, they still view that as a win, so it gets them to buy the card. And by having this automated, you are not missing out on those gaps where someone's like interested in the card, they're debating on buying it, they back out, and then maybe they look for it again and they find a cheaper price. But if you have your offers automated, it could send that offer hopefully before it even gets to that point where they back out and look for someone else. So that's just very important to know. It's a kind of a smaller thing, but it's still very helpful. Then the next thing that I had was the saving different pages. And I do this for eBay and TCG Player. But for eBay, instead of going to listings and then clicking active and then filtering for the certain categories that I'm filtering for, I just save this page on Google so that like anytime I need to update my choose your card listings, I can just do it all at once. And I don't need to waste time setting up the page or getting into that page. And this helps in two ways. One, saves me time loading up the page, and two, I list all of these types of cards together. So when I have like on Sundays when I'm listing cards, I am listing all of the choose your card listings together, like updating the quantities. And it just saves me a ton of time because I can go here, click edit all of them, and then it'll preload them all. I can just edit the variations one by one, much quicker than it would be if I were to go search for Skyridge and then click edit here and then load the whole thing in. And it just saves so much time. And I would definitely recommend one, saving pages like this for your store in a way that works for you. And then two, optimizing your listing processes so that you're not wasting any time and like missing out on anything important because you're, losing a lot of time in between listings. And speaking of listing cards, one thing that I do pretty often is check the prices of cards, especially when an item hits zero in stock or I've been hearing things about it. And there are two ways that you could do this. So one way is you can go on TCG Player and manually look for like even right here I have all these pre-saved tabs. You could look for best match and see which cards are selling quickly. Maybe even search the cards up too. And this is definitely a decent way to find cards that are like in demand or being bought, or go to the tool that I created, tcgspike.com. And what it does is it just shows you all of the cards that are going up heavily in price or even decreasing in price. So it tracks the TCG player prices every single day, and then it sends you an email in the morning with like the biggest movers. So that way you could just see like which cards are going up, and it helps a ton with just being aware of what's going on with the market without having to spend so much time looking at trends and looking at different price histories of different cards, because it just shows you the biggest movers right away. And not all days, but some days, like you can clearly see a big impact or trend on certain cards because, like, I remember a few weeks ago, e-reader cards were just going up like crazy and being bought up a bunch. And I found that through here because I was seeing like there was an EV from Skyridge, EV from Expedition, a bunch of Aquapolis cards going up in price. And it looks like it's still happening to this day. Like a Alakazam right here, Nidoran from Aquapolis, Reverse Hollow, Psyduck. So just having a tool like this can definitely help speed up your process of doing like price research and also seeing competitive cards that are worth a lot so that when you're going through your bulk, you know exactly what to look for. So like this rescue board is 14 cents or this jamming tower is 25 cents. So being aware of this can definitely help you when you're going through your bulk so that you don't have to memorize every single card and look up every single card to see the value. And then the next important thing, which will be the final thing for this video, is your advertising. So what I do is I set up campaigns for every single store category that I have. And I have it automated so that any way or any time I add a card to that category, it just fits into the campaign. So that way I don't have to go in every single time and like add the campaign to that listing. It just does it automatically. And if you want to see how to set that up, I already showed this in detail. It's the how to set up eBay like advertising and campaigns or marketing promotions. So if you look that up on my channel, you'll find that video. I'll try to link it as well in the description, but it's very helpful if you're doing that because promotions, like even if you just look at these numbers, I got 15 around or almost 15,000 in sales from promos, and I spent 1,400 in ads to get that amount. So for every dollar I spend on ads, I get $10 in return, which is unheard of, honestly. Like on other platforms, it's a lot lower if you were to look at like ROAS for advertising. So definitely set up ads and get them automated so that your listings will be added in every single time without you having to manually do it. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video, and hopefully you guys found it helpful. Comment down below which one you found the most helpful or which ones that were new to you that you haven't heard of before. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.